Senate defies Trump, passes historic resolution to end U.S. support for Saudi Arabia in Yemen war.
Here's a summary of the article.
Washington, the Senate delivered a stern rebuke to President Donald Trump and his administration on Wednesday, voting to withdraw U.S. support for the Saudi-led military campaign in Yemen. I think there is bipartisan agreement, shared by the administration, that our objective should be the end of this horrible conflict. But this resolution will not end this conflict. It will not help Saudi pilots avoid civilian casualties. The Republican-led House would not take up that resolution at the end of 2018. Trump has refused to budge when it comes to U.S. support for the Saudis, even as top Republicans such as Sen. Lindsey Graham have called for a reassessment of the relationship over Khashoggi's death. What was his key point of advocacy against the Saudis? It was his belief that the war in Yemen was a humanitarian disaster, Kane said, alluding to Khashoggi's criticism of the Yemen war and the Saudi royal family in his writing. The Constitution is pretty clear that Congress should declare when we go to war, Republican Senator Rand Paul told Insider. We shouldn't be at war with the Saudis in Yemen without approval of Congress. This is an extraordinary measure in the sense that it's been very rare in our history, that both houses will vote to tell a president that we shouldn't be in a war that wasn't declared by Congress. Democratic Sen. Chris Murphy, a co-sponsor of the resolution, in a statement on Wednesday's vote said, the Saudi-led war in Yemen has caused 85,000 children to starve to death. Today we said enough with this disastrous and unconstitutional war, enough with facilitating this humanitarian disaster, enough with giving the Saudis a blank check. I hope the Saudi leadership is paying attention.
This post received a score of 36,827, with an upvote ratio of 92%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Trump is already committed to veto this if the resolution makes it to him. Sad.
That's a lot of damage.
I cut this country in two.
I cut the country in two pieces. I am at my resort. Tax evasion, no briefing.
Don't give a fuck if the poor die bleeding. This is a lot less funny because it's true. That typically makes things sad but still funny because it's true.
From another news article on this resolution. Holy shit, I knew the Saudis and Emiratis were committing all sorts of atrocities in Yemen, but I didn't know they went to this extent. How sickening.
Saudi Arabian military is so fucking incompetent that they only can fight civilians.
At least they have the newest and shiniest planes and bombs. Smiley face. Sad face.
This doesn't take into account the children who have died from cholera or other preventable diseases. It doesn't take into account the adults who have starved to death, or died from cholera or other preventable diseases. This doesn't take into account the elderly that have died from starvation, cholera or other preventable diseases. That we must invade and bomb more brown people so that the poor Venezuelans don't go to sleep hungry.
The US literally killed hundreds of thousands of civilians in Iraq all by itself only 15 years ago. I continue to be dumbfounded to this day why it's not talked about more. This is all without mentioning the slavery both countries practice, the support of radical Islam globally, violating the human rights of women, the racist nature of their countries where citizenship is only granted by blood, and the basic premise that their countries ruled by kings who hold all the power. They joined the 20th century by letting women drive and giving billions to tech companies and arms manufacturers, so I guess it's cool with the West. But oil though?
That's why building renewable energy infrastructure is a matter of national security.
Is this the thread where Donald supporters who support his idea to withdraw from Syria without a plan because we need to get out of the Middle East express their support of Donald for vetoing this because we need to have a strong military presence in the Middle East? Edit. In regards to the inevitable, yeah, well, the leftists supported all these wars when Obama was in charge but are just against them now that Trump is in charge. Edit 2. Here's a picture of a kitten with a stuffed animal as eyebleach for those depressing graphs.
Those last 3 charts are so telling.
They're the only 3 charts he posted unless I missed one. Likely, I have not had coffee yet today.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.